I thought I'd just talk about one particular topic on this particular video. It's just something short, but it's something that I think people don't really sort of consider. But it's something where a lot of conversations sort of start, and what drives sort of things like, are you okay, and going to talk to somebody, and so on and so forth. And I think a lot of times when you are actually thinking about things, and this one is sort of like what they call an old wives' tale, or a saying, or stuff like that. Those sort of things actually do have a lot of grains of truth amongst them. And the one that I'm looking at just for today is the one that's called, a problem shared is a problem halved. And there's many things around that. There's other ways that those things are said, but that's the particular one I know. Sometimes it's a little bit, might be said a little bit differently, but that sentiment is the same. And that's what a lot of these, are you okay? Are you, talk to somebody, men's groups, whatever you're engaged in, is really about. Because the more you talk about it, the more you sort of unburden yourself. And so therefore, every time you talk about it, the burden becomes lesser. And the understanding of that particular problem is also understood more, because each time you delve deeper and deeper into it, because you've said it once and you sort of understand a little bit more. You say it again, you understand a little bit more. So each time, not only is the process of talking about it with somebody halving the problem, but also it's halving it in a way of your understanding as well. So if you talk about these things and you sort of start to express them, you start to understand what maybe drives them. And so first you might sort of say, oh, look, my problem is X. And then sometimes you might just put a little bit extra information on there. Suddenly that's giving you a little bit more of an insight. And so you're like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that, or it's interesting that came out. And sometimes your subconscious mind will talk for you, and you don't even realize those are the things that are bothering you. And suddenly talking about it releases that subconscious mind to stop holding it in and actually talk about it. So those old wise tales, or those sayings, have so much truth in them that if we only sort of looked at them and sort of said, okay, what does it actually mean? It shows that all of the modern theories and thoughts about, what we're trying to do when we're trying to help people really has existed for eons and eons. We as people, we as humans, have not changed much in those times. We've always had problems. Sometimes maybe they were a bit more physical, but we've always had emotions. We've always had feelings. We've always had problems. We've always had mental health issues. It's just more that we are probably aware of them more these days, because we are so much more in the office, in our homes. So the mental health things sort of come to the fore a little bit more, because we're maybe not having as many physical issues. So a lot of the physical issues are driven by mental health problems. So going back to these sayings like a problem shared is a problem halved, it really is that fundamental thoughts around, if you speak about it, you start to verbalize it, you start to sort of understand it. Because unbeknownst to you, when you start talking, it'll also, that people sort of say, oh, well, it just came out in a rush. It's because you've wanted to share it, you've wanted to talk about it, you wanted to get it off your chest. All of those sort of sayings that we say, get it off your chest and stuff like that, it's because you're holding on to it. And a lot of times you're holding on to it here, and you're trying to sort of keep it in, keep your whatever, show that you're a man, show that you can control everything, show that you can do everything you need to. But actually, when you talk about it, you're actually allowing yourself to be much more in touch with yourself, and realizing the things that are actually causing not only yourself harm, but potentially the people around you harm as well. So the next time somebody tells you, do you want to have a chat about it? Maybe it isn't the right time right then and there, but maybe it is the time to just unburden yourself a little bit, because the time after that, it'll be a little bit easier. It'll be a little bit easier every time you ask. So the sooner you start with small conversations, the quicker you'll get to the big ones that maybe will give you a little bit more insight. So think about that. think about yourself and how you're traveling, and make sure you look after yourself and you look after those people around you. Thanks for listening.